Hello, MGB here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to convert the cloverleaf you've just seen, which was made using the Maxis Highway Override parts, to use some real highway segments, specifically so we can get some turn lanes in. I'm going to chuck down some real highway success starter pieces, drag out from there. You see I'm one tile away from the Maxis Highway. See, most of this I've put together already. We can drag it right into the Maxis Highway at the other end. We'll fix up anything that's not right as we go along. You can see the starters for the other three directions are already in place. Just dragging and connecting everything up. Hopefully that keeps things a little smoother and quicker for the video. And on to the last one. And there you see we have some segments of Rail Highway 6. Just making sure now that I delete all the starter pieces as they're going to get in the way later, but we've got a stable override in place. If you're using a modern version of the NAM, then there's no problem. Once you've got I think 3 or 4 tiles or so, the real highway is much more stable than it used to be. Just continue here to remember where I put all of my starters. And the next thing that we'll want to do once we've got rid of our starters, and you can see here, this one I actually marked, it's probably a good idea. We'll move on to the ramps in the Flex Ramps menu here. I'm going to find the E1 type ramp and just placing that on this tile, a couple tiles back. See everything connects up and we can just plop those down. And the E1, like the D-style ramps, this will take one lane from the main carriageway, so our Real Highway 6 becomes Real Highway 4, as you can see. This means that it connects up neatly with the existing Maxis Highway override. Of course, you could have the centre of the intersection with the regular Real Highway if you wished, but the purpose here is just to show this with the Maxis Highway cloverleaf, which, let me tell you, is an absolute breeze to build comparatively. Just plopping down a couple of pieces. You can do it in relatively short amount of time, and it's a reasonably pretty interchange, I think. So now we've got the MIS segments all completely stable, and you see everything is all hooked up. What we now need to do is to put some transitions in place. For that, we'll go to the width transitions, tab twice, and we find the Real Highway 4 to 6 transition. If we place that, so as you can see in the screen, we have about a 1 tile gap. That gives us room to actually connect up the Maxis Highway once we're done. And just put the other ones in place. Now if this happens, you see the Real Highway 6 stays behind on the other end. With a feeling we might have a problem connecting that up, but sometimes these little errors actually help people to see problems that might befall them too, so we'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah, here we're just going to delete one further tile back, and I think actually I will just use the Real Highway disconnector to get rid of that, but unfortunately, yeah, these older style ones don't allow us to drag out, so we're going to have to build the transitions again. So just something to keep in mind that when you're doing this, you need to have at least a 1 tile or half a tile, I suppose you could say, gap, just enough that you can drag the Real Highway in like so into the Maxis Highway override and get a transition that actually works. Just complete that over here. And again, just get the last couple transition pieces in place. So everything has its gaps now. Last 2 coming in on this side. And switch back to the Real Highway tool and connect those up. So you won't have to do any connections on the other end. They've already gone and switched to Real Highway 4. So it all just works. And there you go. Now what I'm going to do here is sort of a second part, if you will. I'm going to pop some of the cosmetic piece transitions, CP transitions they're called in the menu there. And the Real Highway 61 for lane 1, which is perfectly suitable for either D1 or E1 ramps, such as we're using here. And this just is going to allow us to make some nice lane markings that provide a cleaner transition between the extra lane and the slip lane that comes off the motorway here. So for the last pieces, we need the 2-tile cosmetic pieces. And we're going to start by just tabbing through the menu. There's quite a lot of pieces here, so it can take a while to find the right one, or to just find all the options that are available. Note that I'm using a left-hand drive setup, so you'll probably be doing this the other way round if you're like most users using right-hand drive. And I've got one with the solid lines, which matches up nice with the ramps that are already in place and just gives the 3 marking arrows here. From there, I'm going to go a few tiles back, and let's put in just the left turn arrow, which would be a right turn arrow for most of you, and then fill that in with the block markings, and we'll just go ahead and repeat those steps on the other sides of the interchange as well. So 3, and then I put the arrow in place. Obviously, you can change the number of arrows you put and where you put them to fit your preferred setup. This is just one way of doing it, as with all these things. And here we go on to the last side. So that's the bits with the solid markings, which certainly over in this part of the world would mean that you're restricted from changing lane from that point onwards. And what I'm going to do further back, I'm going to put another one of the arrows in, and then I'm going to change over to these dash markings. So this is the initial part of the intersection, or the change in width, where drivers can actually move in to what would be the left, or in most people's cases, the right-hand lane, in order to make the turn for the intersection. Again, just going through and adding those to each approach. I think this is a lot neater than simply just having the extra lane in place. It's a little bit more work, but certainly looks a lot more realistic if you can put the time in. Using the same piece now in the opposite direction, we're going to have this lane reduction arrow, and again, just going to put some gaps in. Now, because these lanes are coming onto the motorway and the main carriageway, they will be dashed the whole way down. But hopefully you get the idea from the one example. Hope this has been another useful tutorial. Goodbye.